The Kessler Twins, Alice and Ellen, a final goodbye. We often hear the phrase, together forever, but very few people actually live by it until their very last breath. Today, we say a final goodbye to two legends who defined an era of glamour, talent, and sisterhood. Alice and Ellen Kessler, the world-famous Kessler twins, have left this world. But they didn't just pass away. They made a choice that has shocked and touched millions. They promised they would never leave each other alone, and on Monday, November 17, 2025, they kept that promise by choosing to leave this world at the exact same moment. To understand why this ending is so powerful, we have to look back at who they were. Born in Germany in 1936, Alice and Ellen were more than just sisters. They were a phenomenon. In the 1950s and 60s, they were the definition of stardom. They conquered the stages of Paris, they captivated audiences in Italy, and they charmed the United States. They performed alongside the biggest names in history, Frank Sinatra, Fred Astaire, and Harry Belafonte. In fact, they were so iconic that they even turned down a movie role with Elvis Presley because they didn't want to be just another pretty pair in a film. They wanted to be respected for their talent, and they were. But behind the lights and the applause, their real story was their bond. They were famously inseparable. For decades, they lived in adjoining apartments in Munich, separated only by a single sliding door. They never married, famously saying that no man could ever come between them. Alice once said in an interview, "Being a twosome only has advantages. Together, you are stronger." They shared everything, their career, their home, their lives, and deep down, they carried a fear, the fear of one sister being left behind without the other. As they reached the age of 89, time began to take its toll. Reports confirmed that both sisters were suffering from health issues. They faced heart problems, and life was becoming physically difficult. They had lost their sense of taste and smell, and the vibrancy of life was fading. But their biggest pain wasn't physical, it was the thought of separation. They had spoken about this before. In a heartbreaking interview just last year, they admitted, "The idea that one of us will go first is very difficult to bear." So, they took control of their own destiny. On November 17, 2025, at their home in Munich, Alice and Ellen Kessler utilized assisted dying, a legal medical process in Germany. Surrounded by peace, and most importantly, accompanied by each other, they closed their eyes for the last time, together. Their final wish was just as poetic as their life. They requested that their ashes be placed in a single urn, mixed together, so that even in death, they would never be parted. They will be buried alongside their mother and their beloved dog, reunited as a family. It is a tragic end, but also a deeply romantic one in its own way. They lived on their own terms, and they died on their own terms. Alice and Ellen Kessler showed the world what true loyalty looks like. They entered this world together, and 89 years later, they left it exactly the same way. Rest in peace to the Kessler twins. What do you think about their decision to leave together? Let me know in the comments below, and please subscribe to the channel as we honor the stories of legends we lose.